Hi everyone, I'm Daisy Rocha and this is what's happening in Brazil. We start by updating you on the latest news from the country. Last week, Justice Alexandre de Moraes ordered the blocking of X in Brazil for not complying with a court order related to the January 8, 2023 attempt coup attack. He cited evidence of intimidation against investigators. In response, Elon Musk created an X account named Alexander Files to criticize Moraes and expose confidential Supreme Court information. The profile accuses Moraes of abuse and censorship. Moraes then called on the Supreme Court to reveal the legality of blocking X. Rio de Janeiro saw a dramatic 160% increase in fire outbreaks from January to August this year. Authorities now focus on addressing the cause and implementing strategies to mitigate future incidents. The whole country began the month of September with over 150,000 fires outbreaks recorded this year. The largest number of fire fronts is on the Amazon rainforest. Brazil has 191 candidates running for mayor of the 26 Brazilian capitals on October 6. The most recent survey points out that São Paulo has a technical tie. The candidates supported by President Lula, Guilherme Boulos, have 23% of the votes. The far-right and influencer Pablo Marçal and the current mayor Ricardo Nunes have 22%. In Rio de Janeiro, the current mayor Eduardo Paes has 49% of the vote. Voting is done through an electronic ballot box. The voting is mandatory for people between the ages of 18 and 70 and optional for illiterate voters, young people ages 16 and 17, and those over 70. Brazil has become a Paralympic powerhouse, winning over 400 medals since its first participation in 1972. This success is credited to the Brazilian Paralympic Committee creation in 1994, along with effective management and substantial funding. Consistently ranking in the top 10 at the Paralympic Games, the country now aims to be among the top 5 in Paris 2024. In today's story of the week, you will see how agribusiness has become the main cause of deforestation in Brazil. The data was released by Map Biomas, a system for deforestation alerts based on high-resolution satellite images, last week in Brasília, Brazil's capital.
Brazil has 64% of its territory covered by native vegetation. In 1985, it was 76%. During this period, pasture land expanded by 79%, around 72 million hectares more than 39 years ago. Agriculture grew by 228%, with 42 million hectares occupied by crops, mainly grains. This is according to the Map Biomas mapping of land use in Brazil, which was released last week in Brasília. The report found that more than 50% of the native vegetation lost was concentrated in the Amazon.
We witnessed a very predatory growth in agribusiness in the Amazon region, with a deforestation process that involved invading public land, removing the hardwood with some commercial value, then putting down the remaining trees using a chain called correntão, waiting for it to dry out to set it on fire, and then would open up a pasture with very low productivity just to try to regularize the land or take possession of it. If you succeed, you sell the land to someone else to plant soybeans and go on to clear another area.
According to the report's data, native vegetation has been cut down in all biomes to make way for pasture land and large monocultures. Another serious warning concerns the Pantanal wetlands. Map Biomas concludes that the water surface over the biome has shrunk from 21% in 1985 to just 4% in 2023, and degrading agribusiness occupies areas that no longer flood to expand its business. For those who produce food and advocate adopting sustainable soil management methods, there is no way to separate the environmental debate from access to land and the country's agricultural development model.
The MST has a strategy for building a new kind of agrarian reform, which we call popular agrarian reform. What is fundamental to us is that it's possible to reconcile healthy food production with caring for nature.
Maida says that as well as dedicating itself to the struggle for land and the production of agri-ecological food, the MST has a reforestation plan that aims to plant 100 million trees by 2030 in all regions of the country. The landless leader calls on the government to take stronger measures to tackle climate change, advance the agroecological transition, and consequently, end hunger.
There is a difference because we see it as crucial for reducing or slowing down climate change, and what the government is putting forward. It still puts forward actions that are very much linked to what capitalism, green capital, and the carbon market are finding as ways out, right? And for us, it's not that, but agrarian reform, land democratization, and agroecology.
In this week's Culture Talk, you found out about the city of Icoraci in the state of Pará, which has revived Marajoara ceramics and over the years protect its identity. Brasil de Fato went there to understand how these special pieces are produced.
With a population estimated of more than 300,000 inhabitants, the Icoraci district is about 20 kilometers from downtown Belém. However, around 90% of the ceramics community is in the Paracuri neighborhood, which is crossed by clay-rich streams. Wherever you go, people carry clay, molding, or drying pieces displayed on the sidewalk. Even at the beginning of the 20th century, the pieces produced in Icoraci were already known worldwide as Marajoara handicrafts, thanks to the efforts of masters who rescued and transformed the art that now has its own identity and is recognized as Belém's intangible cultural heritage.
Na realidade, eu não sou inventor de nada, não inventei nada.
I'm not the inventor of anything. I didn't invent anything. I'm keeping on with this art because when I realized I already saw my father doing it. When my father was born, he saw his father doing it.
At the age of 88, Josemiro has kept his pottery and handicraft space and reinforces the city ceramics as a combination of styles produced millennia ago in the Amazon and currently replicated or stylized.
Hoje nós temos umas peças aqui em Icoraci que são identidade nossa.
Today we have pieces here in Icoraci that are our creations. Sometimes there is a copy of the Marajoara, the Tapajônica, the Maracá ceramics, but they are all stylized. You can only find original pieces in museums. Nowadays, it is hard to see a country that doesn't have at least a few of these pieces. They're all over the world.
In the renewal of ancestry and the reinvention of art, the number of artisans in Icoraci has multiplied, maintaining the tradition of handling clay with agility and speed. Today, the city supplies ceramic pieces to all over the country. Orders exceed 1,000 pieces, all handmade.
It's very enjoyable to work with handicrafts, but it requires patience, and you have to have love for what you do. If you don't have love, you can't do anything. Today, we sell them all over Brazil.
In her own pottery factory, Célia works with 9 people, including friends and family. She emphasizes that the whole community helps each other.
Aqui, como a gente trabalha com uma comunidade, aí nem
Here, since we work in a community, no one works only here. Everyone goes to the neighbor's pottery, helps one person or another. Not everyone is permanent.
It was from this collective mobilization that the artisans conquered the Paracuri Craft Fair 30 years ago, an area on the banks of the river, under the beauty of the sunset, which names Iquaraci, a word from the Tupi language meaning son of the river.
We're gonna be 30 next year, so we have a tradition. We are already well known here, both in the state of Pará and in other Brazilian states. Here we have all the beauty of the waterfront, the river and the sunset, and this makes our product much more valuable. A lot of people visit here, people from Pará, the city of Belém, and the other municipalities, as well as from other states and even other countries.
We are here working, battling so that our handicrafts don't die. We have to teach young people to continue. If you don't teach, it ends.
Did you like the show? So hit the like button and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to receive notifications. We will see you next week.